Hello, booktubers! I'm super excited today to talk about The Coldest Girl in Coldtown by Holly Black. But before we start, I have a quick question for you all. So, this little sticker, these little stickers of deaths, who knows how to take these off? Because I tried and then just started leaving stuff behind, so I didn't pull it off all the way. But I want this pretty cover without the sticker. But people, you just need to stop. Stop putting these on here. I don't know who does it. I don't care who does it, just stop it. Please comment below if you know how to take this off because I am dying to figure this out and I trust you guys. So, yeah. Basically, to give a brief synopsis of what this book is about, it's about vampires. Don't be turned off. This is kind of I don't want to say it's different, but it's good. It's not it's good vampire stuff, okay? So, basically, what it is this main girl, Tana. She wakes up from a party, finds all of her friends dead, except for her ex-boyfriend and this mysterious guy, and they are headed to a cold town for reasons that I will let you read. Basically, 10 years ago, there was a vampire breakout. What cold towns are that's where people go if they're cold, so either they're changing into a vampire or they are a vampire. And then also people who are just kind of obsessed with the whole vampire thing can go into these cold towns and, let the vampires feed off of them. Cold towns are kind of very publicized, and they're kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? They're kind of sensationalized in the fact of some people just want to go because it looks like a good old time, but you don't really know the whole cold town. It's mystery and it's kind of adventure. It took me an hour or so to kind of get into it, get the backstory and everything, but once it did, I read the rest of it in a night. I couldn't get enough of it. It really keeps you hooked, and it's one of those books that you don't realize how much you're reading until you look at the time, and then 3 hours have passed by and you're like, oh my gosh, I actually got pretty far in the book. And it was actually really nice to have this book. I have it in a hardcover, and I think I mentioned it before. I usually have my Kindle, and I read everything on my Kindle, and then whatever books I really like, then I go out and I get the hardback or paperback, depending on how much I like the books. It was just nice to kind of read again with a hardcover book, and I actually caught myself trying to flip the pages by finger touch and finger swipe, and I was like, oh wait, wrong type of book form. That is it for the just brief synopsis of what it's about. I highly recommend it. It was a really good book, really enjoyable. It is a single book, so there's no series, and it was great that way because it tied up everything perfectly. There was no reason for it to be a series, and that's kind of nice just after a while, just having a standalone book that just is able to wrap up and just tell you a good story. So this is it for the non-spoilery section. Stay tuned if you want to talk about it a little bit more. I really love this book, so if you have any comments or any questions, feel free to comment below. Feel free to subscribe before I go on. People who don't want to be spoiled, you should switch the video now, but feel free to comment or do anything that you like. Okay? Bye. So I love Tana's character in this book. She's so against vampires after seeing what happened to her mom that when the possibility of becoming cold is an actual fear for her. And I feel that even though I haven't read a lot of vampire books per se, I feel that a lot of the times you'll have that character who kind of changes and says, oh well, maybe it's not that bad, but she is true to herself, true to her experiences. And I love how at the end she decides to, it might be torturous, it might be really hard, but I'm going to wait out my 88 days and get rid of this cold. Gabrielle was also an interesting character in the fact of, he starts off as kind of this normal guy / vampire. He doesn't seem too special, but as things kind of go on, you kind of get little hints of something. But then when he was the spider at the end, you're just like, oh, I guess that makes sense. I don't know why I didn't see that coming. So that was a nice surprise in the fact of everything just kind of turned out nicely. And it was really cute when he was at the end in the basement with Tana. It was just I'll help you out. You don't need to worry about anything from me. Obviously, I kind of understand what you're going through, even though I turned into a vampire in the end. But, I'm here to support you. And that was really sweet. Aiden in my opinion, was a douchebag. And the only time that he was actually ever good is when he took Pearl and gave her back to Tana. Other than that, like, I really, really didn't like him. I didn't even really feel sympathetic for him. Like, after he took the little token so she could get out, I was just like, okay, this is over with. You are a complete asshole. And you are a very bad person. Not like bad evil, but you just like, you don't know how to treat friends and you don't know how to treat people. And that's just like some BS that I just wouldn't put up with. So I'm glad Tana didn't either. Or I was expecting kind of like a love triangle, like, oh my god, she finds these two guys. But it wasn't like that at all. So that was really nice that there were 3 people and there wasn't some type of love triangle. The character Midnight, I also didn't really feel sorry for. She fell for the sensationalization of the vampires just to kind of escape her own mortality. It kind of hints that she had something else going on, and that she was going to die from some type of disease, and so being a vampire, she wanted to live forever. And that's kind of sympathetic in a way, but I just, again, kind of like Aiden, like, the way she just kind of like is oblivious to everything else kind of bothered me. And I really felt bad for Winter because he's there to support his sister, but you can tell he's very reluctant to do so. And unfortunately, he dies because of his sister, which was just kind of like, Midnight, this is what happens because you don't understand the negative effects that could happen. I liked this type of vampire story. I had kind of like the nitty-gritty of it in the fact of, you know, when a person first changes, it was just kind of like Aiden and Midnight went on like a massacre, and it was kind of different to see that. I'm also basing this off of, you know, not reading very many vampire books. One of the questions I also had is if she kept on feeding off of vampire blood, would she still be able to wait out the 88 days, or would that have to restart the 88 days after she had some vampire blood? So if you have any answers to that or what you think, please enlighten me. It's hard to describe this book, I feel, and talk about it in a lot of detail because it's not like a lot goes on, but it does. It's like half the book they're doing their road trip, and then the second half they're in the Coldtown and things happen, but it's really hard to describe it because it's nothing happens, but everything happens. I usually take a while to reread books. It has to be like a year or a year and a half in order for me to pick it up again. So it has to be really special in some sort of way for me to like want to pick it up again and read it like a few weeks after or a few days after. And this book really does it. So I highly recommend you reading it if you haven't. Probably the next book review that I will do is after Never Fade comes out, which is the sequel to The Darkest Minds. And I haven't read The Darkest Minds yet, so that way I could kind of marathon The Darkest Minds and Never Fade. So I'll be really excited after that comes out next Tuesday on the 15th to put a book review up for you guys. And so yeah, so I look forward to seeing you all again, even though I can't see you. I guess I can't wait to hear your comments about it. Make sure you comment and make sure you subscribe. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.